All right, this is the We People News. All right, this is going to be part two, okay? Not attorney, not giving legal advice. Anything I say or do is just opinion, okay? No more, no less, okay? Do your own research. Never look straight forward. Always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. All right? There you go. Subscribe to this channel. And like I said in the first one, just in case you missed the first one, she does a lot of reaction ones, and Bill Burt was one of them, and a bunch of other deals, okay? Now, that being said, I haven't seen all her videos or really pay real close attention, but I do watch them from time to time to get my mind off law, and again, she's got some great content. But if you want to kind of get some more information on this court case, then go to her channel, because she's staying up on this pretty good and hot and heavy. And allegedly there's going to be another basically contempt of court thing coming up. I'm assuming for another judge, but it may not be. All right. Now, that being said, people, sit and think about this. If he is creature of habit, and he's not in fear of losing his job, being on TV or Zoom, but definitely in public filming of some sort, then how many innocent people has he put in and they have put in? They're all working together, right? I'm just saying. I don't know if that could be true, but allegedly, I don't know that to be true, okay? But this is happening all through the United States. You cannot be a judge and not have some form of relationship with attorneys, all right? The whole system is this way. Remember, the courts is not really for justice as much as it is political, okay? We've been misled to believe, and sometimes you'll win a case, but it's not because of them. It's because to keep the public in peace, assuming that they won a case when really it's a game. We're going to let these people win just so we can have people go out there and say, well, I won my case. And we're no wiser to the difference. Okay? This is the mastermind. Allegedly. Uh-oh. Let's back up. Let's try this again.
Get information that was not meant for you to hear at that particular point in time.
The prosecutor on the case, Adrian Love, said there was nothing improper about what happened with this ex parte meeting in chambers regarding Kenneth Copeland being held in contempt.
We certainly have the right to request ex parte communications. That's why we ask that the court reporter be present. This is a matter that the defendant...
She automatically got to sit up a little bit more when she brought that up, like, oh, crap, she put me involved in this.
Did not have a right to be a part of, as this was a matter regarding a civil contempt that the court imposed upon a person for not obeying the court's directive.
Now, it seems like even the prosecutor...
I'm going to pause right there. And notice that the jury is not there, okay? Because it's your jury trial. Well, because it's a jury trial, then the judge is a king over the jury and gets to tell them what to do. Now, if it was trial by jury, then the trial by jury gets to judge the law and the facts. And this is where some of our corruption is, right? They confiscated our jury members, which, I go again, allegedly, we have a jury notification. Check that out. I cannot confirm or deny. All right, let's proceed forward.
thought that this could be an issue. Adrian Love asked that Steele be allowed to return to the courtroom.
We would ask that the court fashion a punishment for the contempt that affords Mr. Williams the right during these proceedings while court is in session to both counsel for both of his counsels. For Mr. Steele to be present in the courtroom, he can still be held in contempt. But for Mr. Williams to have representation of both Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams while court is in session, and that the court's remedy does not affect his ability to have his counsel of choice represent him during this trial.
Now, later in the day, and I mean the evening.
Okay, in short, what that lady's doing is trying to dial it down now, the DA. Okay, she said this is out of hand, and we need to kind of reserve some safe faith for the public view that we're working together. But remember, that DA is asking a judge that broke the law to go ahead and proceed forward, even though they're both breaking the law. And still asking for permission. Well, if we're going to break the law, let's go ahead and let him come in so he can break the law too.
After 7 p.m., attorney Ashley Merchant came to court to represent Brian Steele in the...
Now, check this part out, right? She is sneaking in there, whispering in his ear. If you run back, he wasn't smiling. But all of a sudden, he started smiling. These people over here are starting to smile. They know what's conspiring, what's going on. And this is what I want you guys to hear. Her.
Contempt matter.
Judge, just for the record, is it criminal contempt that you held him in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you said you had a hearing earlier today.
With criminal contempt, I told him what the contempt was, and that was he refused to order the court. If counsel, as you know, if the court orders you to do something and you don't, that's criminal contempt. So I've asked him several times, please just tell me who it is that told you. That I didn't ask or inquire about anything that was said. I just want to know who it was. Because he's got too much detail of this particular alleged conversation for the court to be concerned.
Look, he already admitted it. It's no longer alleged. But he's kind of backtracked a little bit. Alleged.
About it, so.
And Judge, since it is a criminal contempt, he is entitled to due process. He's entitled to a hearing.
Boom. What have I told you guys over and over and over? Just do not accept it. All right? Judge, is this a civil contempt or is this criminal contempt? Because we still have rights of due process, right? For me, I would order that judge, right? Go ahead and start your proceeding on affidavit under penalty and perjury of the loss, damages, and everything that I've done to you, judge, and send it to another judge or magistrate to review the case. Okay? Because you cannot be judge, jury, and executioner of your own case. Same thing in civil as well. I may go ahead and accept your offer. Civil's contract. It's municipality. It's still some form of agreement. All right, quasi-contract, regular contract, but it's still a form of contract. That's what civil is. Okay. Or I may go ahead and accept your offer upon $5,000 per minute I'm in your custody. Do we have meetings of the minds? Do you agree to the terms? Bailiff, come and stick the handcuffs on me so I can start collecting $5,000 per minute I'm in custody.
Entitled to an actual show cause, entitled to the allegations actually written, entitled to a witness list. We're entitled to present our own witness list. And notice of that.
Criminal contempt is different. It is on the spot. So he's gotten the due process he's going to get. That's on the spot. I told him. Plus, he's had all day to tell me who it is that is it. So a little different, Ms. Merchant. I won't disagree with you, but
Well, and
okay.
Judge, just for the record, it's that's direct. So what you're holding him in is in direct criminal contempt.
Yes.
The issue with the direct criminal contempt is whether or not to actually hold a hearing now, whether or not it needs to be held immediately. And the problem is, if you hold him in direct criminal contempt, as you're saying that you did, you are a witness to that proceeding. And so it has to be referred to another judge. Doesn't require recusal. You actually have to sua sponte send it to another judge because you're a witness.
Mr. Steele.
I love it.
I am going to hold you under, still hold you in summary criminal contempt, pursuant to OCJ 15-1-3 sub.
Now recognize this. You put it on record. The judge has been giving notice. Okay? She was polite about it. She was direct about it. But now that judge actually has been given notice. And he still proceeded forward in this. And he cannot do it. So this may be one of the very few cases this judge may be let go. But Georgia, from my understanding, is full of these judges. So we'll just pine and see what happens there, right? Just saying.
Part 3, for your failure to comply with my earlier order today, I'm going to order that you be taken into custody, incarcerated in Fulton County Jail for no more than 20 days for this contempt. Those 20 days consisting of every weekend for the next 10 weekends. And you'll be reporting to 901 Wright Street Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318 at 7 p.m. on Fridays. You'll be released on 7 p.m. on Sundays. And it's to commence this Friday, June the 14th at 7 p.m. and not to end until Sunday, August the 18th at 2024, 7 p.m., subject to further order of this court.
Now, after the judge said...
Now, again, I'm not going to go with what all the attorneys say and all that, because on my way of thinking, right, Title 18, 242, 241 is involved in this, right? Because now you have all the district attorneys involved, you had the court reporter involved, you had the judge involved, and then when it's said and done with, that deputy's going to come and bring him in, okay? So this is all unlawful, okay? Now, they may or may not say legal, but it's definitely unlawful and violated some form of constitutional rights, okay? I'm not nitpicking which one, but there's definitely a violation of due process involved in this, okay? So, yeah, I mean, it's treason, I'm led to believe, but it's my opinion. I'm not an attorney, I'm not giving legal advice, and it may be harsh for attorneys to say that because of the group they hang around with, but the reason why I'm not going to become a bar member is not to be in that group. I can call things out like I see it.
That Brian Steele was going to have to spend his weekends in jail, Steele had just one request.
Can I ask a question?
Sure. I'm going to file a notice of appeal, but for whatever reason that doesn't take, and you don't give a bond, then I'd ask that I can be with Mr. Williams and we work on our case all weekend, for all those weekends. Otherwise, I can't prepare. I speak with Mr. Williams all the time.
That's up to you, and sir. I will, sir. If that comes to pass, you have my support. I will talk with our sheriff, and we may be able to make that work. Okay.
And this entire...
Now, that being said, he hesitated, okay? If I was that attorney, I'd probably just push it a little further because he's in deep doo-doo anyway, right? Your Honor, are you okay? Are you been on any form of drugs? You sure are stuttering a lot. Do we need to get the ambulance here? You know, we want to call some of these things out because now it's freaking out.
thing has turned Brian Steele into a hero of sorts among defense attorneys. Joining me is Ashley Merchant. She is Brian Steele's lawyer. She's also the president of the Georgia Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. So, Ashley, talk to me a little bit about how you end up at the Fulton County Courthouse last night at 7:30 at night, representing Brian Steele in this issue, this contempt matter.
Definitely not how I imagined my day beginning or ending. I was in a meeting and my paralegal came in and said, "Your phone is lighting up and Brian's in custody." And I said, "Oh my God, call me on my phone. I'm getting in the car. I'm driving down there." And, you know, I've served for many years as GACTL, as our association's contempt attorney, where we have attorneys that we dispatch if any lawyers are ever held in contempt. We call it Strike Force. So I'm a member of that. So I'm one of the lawyers that regularly would represent someone. But when I heard Brian was in custody, I had to go myself. And luckily, he's very loved in our community. And so many members of our team went down there and were there. And so we had a very strong showing of force, but it was definitely something I did not expect to happen.
You're a criminal defense attorney, and you've done a lot of murder trials. Is this unusual? Because it sounds unusual to me that a judge would meet in chambers with a prosecution, you know, the star witness for the prosecution, the star witness's lawyer, and they'd all be there having a confab together without a member of the defense team present. Is that weird? That seems like an ex parte communication or something.
Right, and you know, during my hearing, the judge is admitting that he had this ex parte communication, and it seems like that should be what everyone's focused on, not whether or not Brian is going to tell him who told him the judge had this ex parte. It just seemed like deflecting. You know, the judge was in trouble, got caught with having this ex parte hearing, and instead of admit to that and handle that, you know, when Brian brought it up, they're going to throw Brian in jail. It didn't make a lot of sense, but like you said, it's unheard of. These proceedings are supposed to be what we call adversary, where all the defense is there. The defendants, the defense lawyers are all supposed to be present, but instead they chose to have this meeting without inviting any of the defense, without letting them know. And when they brought that up, the lawyer ends up in custody.
The only time I've ever heard of a defense attorney maybe being back in chambers meeting with a judge without the prosecution present or something like that happening is when it was like, "Oh, judge, we need to talk to you about funds we need allocated for an expert," or something like that. If it's like a public defender case or something, you know, that's the only time I've heard of this type of thing happening. But this just sounds hinky. So what are you doing for Brian now? Because Brian
doesn't sound hanky. It sounds criminal, guys. I know. I like I told you in the beginning, I'm going to stay silent through this thing because I know we just want to hear the information from Ashley, but I think we need to call it for what it is. This judge is an absolute corrupt menace and needs to be removed from the bench, disbarred. And honestly, I don't even know. I wonder if charges should be brought up against him.
As of
now I'm going to go ahead and end it there as well. And yes, will the attorneys go that far? Bar member's a bar member, okay? So I don't particularly see that happening, but it'd be interesting how this would play out. If you don't get disbarred, it's because attorneys did not push it, y'all. And appellate courts did not push it. All right? And that means everybody gone ahead and accept a bad judge back into behind the bench. So it's going to be interesting how this pans out. All right. These will be the People News. Bye, y'all.